Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paper Movies, a special episode where Adam is having a bit of a family crisis right now. So, if you could give some positive vibes, some prayers to him in his time of need, that is greatly appreciated. And I don't know where Matthew is. So, I today I have with me General Lots, Predator aficionado, to talk about the 1990 novel Predator 2 by Simon Hawke, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a Star Trek author.
Yep, he wrote a number of Star Trek books, with the best being Blaze of Glory, whose main selling point was a Constitution class ship on the cover. Uh, we're talking about Predator, but I'll give you the basic plot line of that. Basically, a pirate has a Constitution class ship, and Picard has to track him down. That's the whole reason people bought the book. That's the whole reason I read it. So it wasn't bad, but that's the whole reason people bought it.
There we go. So, what is Predator 2? 10 years after the jungle hunt that only Dutch Schaefer survived, the Yautja are back hunting in the city of Los Angeles during both a heat wave and a giant crime wave between the Scorpios and the Jamaican Voodoo. And in the middle of this, our main character Harrigan, part of the LAPD, he and his team are trapped in the middle of this chaos. And that's really it for Predator 2. What we do get is one of the most interesting novelizations I've read in a long while. We get the Yautja perspective in this book, which this might be the only Predator novel that does this. I know AVP novels do this, but is this the only Predator one that goes that far?
The only Predator-focused one that has it, because the original Dark Horse, Bantam novels did not have that. Like Concrete Jungle didn't have it, Cold War didn't have it, and Big Game didn't have it.
And the comics really didn't do this either. I don't even think the Dark Horse Press stuff really does it.
Some of them do. But it's not the same Predators that you saw like in the movies, because there's a continuity that they started up where they completely renamed the Predators the Hish-Q-Tin, but they completely changed their personalities and overall goals. They turned them like pure evil. There's a novel called Predator Forever Midnight, where that I think it kind of influenced like Predators, because they take people and put them on a planet, but they act completely different. Their technology is different. They like mind control humans. They're also hermaphroditic as well. There's even a subplot where like a predator gets hot for another one. So yeah.
Ew. I have that to look forward to next year when I get to that. But this is an interesting one because you and I read this about the same time. We've had this done for a few weeks, so we've had a little bit of time to think about. But this is unique in the sense that we call them Yautja because that's what Steve Perry calls them in the AVP books, and that is generally what they're referred to as. In fact, in the latest Predator film, they refer to them as Yautja. They aren't called that in this book. They're referred to as predators, which is I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a colloquial name. I mean, Yautja or Yautja or however you want to pronounce it. That only showed up until very recently in 3 books, and they weren't even very long books. So it's amazing that it actually has caught on as much as it has.
Well, I mean, this. What was that? The Rage War trilogy? They're referred to as Yautja.
Yeah, but that's very recent though. Like for like a good 2 decades, all you had was those 3 books. That was it.
Yeah. Or as the guy in the audiobooks for the Rage War calls him Yautja.
Oh.
Which I thought that's how it was pronounced. And then the second book, which is an alien book, he calls the xenomorphs xenomorphs.
Ugh.
And I'm like, oh, this guy just says things weird.
Yeah, the Halo books are about like that, like Mjolnir instead of Mjolnir. And some people can't pronounce it.
That was wonky. That was wonky in Fall of Reach. But we can talk about, there's not too many differences in this book compared to the film. Alternate dialogue. Typically it's a clunkier dialogue.
Yeah.
Than the film does, mainly with Bill Paxton's dialogue. So I think Bill Paxton kind of ad-libbed a little bit.
I mean, that's always what makes movies kind of flow a little bit better than books, especially by writers that are just kind of like Simon Hawke. Obviously, is not like the greatest writer who ever lived. He's a what's the name of that? Not a fireman. He's a
journeyman.
Hatchet. A what?
A journeyman?
No. Like, like when you get just like a random director to make a movie.
Oh yeah, he's a direct. He's an author for hire.
Yeah, a gun for hire. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, he's just a gun for hire. It's like, hey, write this book and we'll pay you like $50 or something.
Sure. But this is the best Predator novelization we've ever gotten.
I can agree with that.
The first Predator book, that wasn't even a predator. It was a weird shape-shifting thing. And Schaefer was complaining about Nancy Reagan for the whole book.
I gotta read that one day.
And Poncho isn't even called Poncho. He's called Ramirez.
Ramirez! But tie my shoes. Save the burger town. But yeah, the book also explains a few things that the movie really didn't. Now, we'll get to the Predator dialogue in a minute, but like, I always thought that Bill Paxton and that lady cop, whose name I can never remember, I thought like they got together and that's why she was pregnant. I just kind of got that vibe from those two characters that they were
that they hit it up. Leona?
Yeah, I thought they got together in the movie because the movie kind of implies that because they're always like around each other and they're kind of like friendly with each other in the movie. Whereas in the book, not really. I'll tell you something that's kind of weird about early 90s stuff is like there's oddly sexual things in there that you wouldn't think would be there. When Leona and Bill Paxton first meet, she like grabs his like dick and like is like does a dominance thing, and I'm like, that's a sexual assault. George, just saying there.
Yeah, that's an HR investigation. Get infernal affairs involved. Yeah, they give Bill Paxton's character a backstory, which is nice. They actually explain why he's called the Lone Ranger, which is nice. They give Keyes a little bit of a backstory. Harrigan gets a teeny bit, as well as Danny Boy. Just enough to make it interesting. Also, Leona has a husband.
Yeah, so now we know who actually, impregnated her.
Yeah.
It's no longer really an implication sort of thing. I will say some of the dialogue and some of the setup is actually pretty competently done. There's a scene where I think Harrigan is in a phone booth and like he's kind of zoning out, and then he randomly sees a bear. It's transition to a stuffed bear from like a taxidermy studio. I thought that was a pretty cool thing that the writer did. There's a little bit of competency there.
Yeah. There is. So when I went into this book, I was hoping for that infamous NC-17 cut of Predator 2, because Predator 2 infamously a lot of reshoots, but also a lot of editing down because the film was NC-17 and they needed to make money off this. So we get a little more of Keyes' death. It's not fully what the director said was in the film, but we do get more with the introduction of the Jamaican voodoo posse when they kill the head of the Scorpios with how to delicately put this without YouTube throwing a fit. A train was run on that poor woman.
Yeah.
That was unnecessary. That was like if I have one complaint with this, that was like, you could imply that. it's not done in an overly tacky way, but it's unnecessary nonetheless.
It's unnecessary, but it's not an uncomfortable read. It's not like something that is going to make you want to just, put the book down or just skip past it, because it's not the worst I've ever read. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and it is the logical look at something like that, I guess. Um, yeah, there. That's. I mean, you're talking to someone who's read too much Stephen King at this point.
Yeah.
Well, like it's not the worst I've read. It's not the best. Um, I will say where this book shines is the city hunter's perspective.
Yeah. I was thinking about that just earlier today. I think the City Hunter has more of like almost a serial killer vibe coming off of his dialogue. Uh, Maybe think of like the classic, I think it was 2010s show Dexter almost kind of popped into my head.
Yeah, I get that. It but he still gives off the honor kill like way. There's still honor in it, and it's a fascination. He has a fascination with Harrigan, and he has studied what happened in in Central America with Dutch. They've been studying it because the helmet cam filmed most of it. Because I guess the Predator masks transmit to Yautja Prime, although it's not called Yautja Prime. They just call it the home world. But
I mean, it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like it does bring up some implications of like who's watching it. Is there like a Yautja tube? I
yeah,
mean, is that like a live streaming sort of thing? The thing that like the books never really covered. Nothing has ever really covered like why do the Yautja hunt in the first place? How many actually do go on a hunt? Uh, there's been some fan works that have tried to describe it. There's been some video games that tried to describe it, but they never really go into like any major detail on why they do what they do in the first place.
well, I think that would take away from the mystique if they did that. Um, I like that the obsession and that humans. Well, they do make a weird choice in this that Dutch is the first human being to kill a Yautja.
Yeah, I remember reading that. It was kind of strange. It's like, really? He was the no one else got kind of lucky or anything? That's definitely not in continuity anymore. I mean,
No, that was contradicted almost immediately. Well, I mean, like at that point, because I was thinking when reading this, there were only two things that were in the Predator continuity. You had the film, and you had Concrete Jungle, because Big Game was coming out while this was when this came out, as well as Cold War was in the works. The comics, not the novels. The novels didn't come out to the mid 90s. Um, which this starts the trend of weird retconning uh years. So they retcon in this. This takes place in 96 instead of 97 like the film does. And they claim that the jungle hunt happened in 86 because it's been a decade since. Which this would go on into other all the Bantam Predator novels did this, where they would move it up to like I think the Concrete Jungle and Cold War take place in 96 and 97 respectively. They never say when Big Game happens in the novelization.
I
But
guess so. Like they can adjust the dates, so like as time goes on, it won't be like yes in 1992, and yet the book comes out in 2022, and that'd be kind of weird. So it's just a floating timeline, you know.
well, I don't mind as much because like I think Predator shines when they do period pieces. either go doing it in modern times has really kind of been played out at this point. Either set it way back, because I just read, if you've been following my channel, you know that I just reviewed Hell Come a Walkin', the Civil War Predator story that's been redacted by Marvel. You have to really hunt it down now in order to get it, because it's culturally insensitive, apparently.
It's kind of sad. My old omnibuses from the 2010s, I think, or late 2000s, they had it in there.
Yeah, it's in volume 4. I know, because I had to buy that omnibus for a steep price to get it. But like,
ouch.
yeah, I got a good deal because I knew the person I was buying from, because I had bought from them before. So they cut me a deal. So it wasn't the end of the world. But these are going really steep. But because one of the main protagonists is a Confederate soldier, they've redacted it. And oh no, the Union committed war atrocities on the Confederates. What a how terrible. We can't have this, even though it's war. And things like that happened in the Civil War on both sides.
Yeah, we can't have, don't want to piss off the Predators, right?
We can't look at it objectively anymore. But yeah, I like the also Nemesis is another good one, where that's in the late 1800s in England, and they think it's a Jack the Ripper clone, like a copycat killer, but it's a hunter, a predator. That's a neat one. I like those. I even like Prey, even though Prey breaks continuity a bit.
Yeah, it does. But that bear scene was pretty good.
I know it took the terrible Kevin J. Anderson comic Primitive and cut it down to like 10 minutes, because that's what would happen if a grizzly fought a Yautja.
Pretty much.
Instead of being 2 issues long.
I don't think I ever read that, but the thing about like Predator 2, you remember there was a time when people hated it? Like, they hated the movie.
Yes. Well, I don't remember them hating. I remember it is always referred to as, well, when there were just 2 of them,
Yeah.
it was the lesser of the 2. But you got to understand, when I became a fan of these franchises, AVP existed. So I I saw Aliens, and then AVP. I didn't see Predator for a year prior, because my mom said that the foul language was too much for me as an 11-year-old. So I had to wait till I was 12, and then my dad let me watch it while my mom wasn't home.
Oh
Uh,
dear.
well, she didn't care at that point. I had seen 300 in the theater by then,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a big deal to me, graphic wise and language. Although I did cackle at everything Jesse Ventura said in that movie.
I mean, it was beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is very much him. I think that's just how he is. Only there was.
Amazing we got two.
Oh, go on.
This is amazing we got 2 governors out of that movie.
Yeah, 2 governor. There may have been one of the other ones. Other actors was a governor too. I can't remember.
But one of the things I was thinking about is like Predator 2, I think is to a certain extent, like the book makes it even more explicit with the Yautja dialogue, but I think it might be a more cerebral movie than the first one, because I think the biggest complaint was always that Predator 2 was just the first one again, but in a city. But it's really not the same movie.
It's not. And especially when you watch Predators. Predators is just Predator, but with the most deadly assassins being thrown on a game preserve, and there's more than one Predator. It's not like every Alien movie is the same, with just in a different genre. That Alien horror, Aliens action, Alien 3 human drama, Alien Resurrection dark comedy, Prometheus human feces, Alien Covenant human feces with sprinkles on top, and Alien Romulus Chat GPT feces.
Exactly.
You know, they're this, but they're all the same. It's all the same. People are stuck somewhere, and they have to deal with the xenomorph outbreak, whether it be one of them or several of them. There are different factors, of course, to make them different-ish, but that is what it is. Whereas, like the Predator films, they aren't all like that. Predator 2 is a 90s cop movie. It's very it's a lethal weapon film.
The book does have Harrigan mention like this is a job for Mel Gibson.
Yeah. But it feels like a 90s cop action film. You got some shots that are similar to shots that like you get in Police Story or in the Lethal Weapon films. A lot of wide angles, that sort of thing. Some ripping off of Aliens near the end with the POV camera stuff with Keyes' group that try to capture the Yautja.
I would say that's kind of an homage, though, because it's not as explicit as I think as an Aliens ripoff. I mean, it isn't like a slaughterhouse instead of like a hive, and yeah, I think it's not a member berry. Let's just put it that way.
Well, no, it's just they're just weirdly similar. It's not as blatant as Jurassic World did with the Velociraptors.
Yeah,
that is straight up a ripoff.
Exactly. I mean, they didn't make it as obvious as it could be, I think, and I can kind of live with that. But the thing about like the main plot of like the Predator, the Yautja, what do you want to call him? The dude, the city dude. He is very much a different kind of character from the first movie's Predator. I mean, he literally is getting inside Harrigan's head. Like when you read the dialogue, he talks about how like he wants to enrage Harrigan to come after him, and I really like that. He starts killing one by one all of Harrigan's friends. He kills off Danny, and the book goes into like their backstory. They come up from the streets, and like that, I think makes it a lot scarier because most of the time the Predator is just a snarly monster most of the time. Whereas this is like that's why I compare him more to a serial killer because he's thinking in a way that other like movie monsters don't really do. Like he's getting in his head. You know, he's leaving like the little. Go on.
This is something you told me when you finished it, and I was like halfway through. You're like, the Yautja is more. He's not as primal. He's more analytical.
Yeah.
Everything, and you see it a teeny bit in the film with leaving Danny's necklace in the cemetery. That's neat. I mean, like some of the mimicking of the voices is kind of alluded to as like a weird tactic.
Trying to get him to act more emotional, and it's kind of interesting. Like the Yautja is less primal, but he's trying to make Harrigan more primal.
But I mean, he doesn't feel as a person. It's more. It's a beast to kill.
Yeah. Which they don't really do that much in any. Well, since there's not much Predator media. That's the main thing. Like. For the longest time, you would have just had this book plus 3 books. That's the thing. Like, I'm old. So for the longest time, all you had, and even today, you think about this, how many of the new Predator books are there really?
Since the weird reboot with going to Titan Books, or counting the novelization of The Predator, there are 4 Predator novels and 2 short story collections.
So that's not a lot of content for these characters. I think you probably got.
We get like 2 to 3 Alien novels a year.
And honestly, I don't know that Alien is even quite. That's probably a debate for another video. But like, are the actual monsters the monsters are what sell? You put a Predator on a cover, people are going to buy it. You put an Alien on a cover, people are going to buy it. But like, is that even really the point of those series, because like you can't base a story around a predator showing up and killing everybody. I mean, you can, but it's not a good story because it's been done. That's why I think they should have finally gone into like have the predators do something other than hunting. I get that kind of goes against the rules established, but you can't do the same plot over and over again. So well, I think
they did that. It was called The Predator.
Oh, do it well. Don't make it predators that like. Don't make it predators that are like into Sonic, let's say.
Better than being into Sonichu, I suppose.
I mean, for those who never watched The Predator, they're trying to basically get space autism. No, we're not making that up. That is actually in the movie. Someone thought that was someone got paid to write that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we recovered it on this podcast. We have now. This was the last Predator novelization we hadn't done. We covered The Predator in season 1. Such a bad film. And that, unfortunately, because that was so bad, and they wanted to make that into something, because like Hunters and Hunted and Stalking Shadows, those two spin-off novels, try to do something with that. Where Hunters and Hunted is a prequel novel to the Predator. It doesn't do anything. It's to explain how they have some pred tech at the Stargazer base. That's literally all it does. But Stalking Shadows is like, okay, let's have a character, and he teams up with Dutch, and they create an elite team to handle these hunters, so we can figure out why they're coming here. And it starts at the end of this book, Predator 2, and goes up to the Predator. But that is to tie into the Hunting Grounds multiplayer game. To give a reason for that.
I mean, that could be. I think the game is probably better than the Predator movie, but like there needed to be something more. I actually like AVP because it's set in the future, and humanity and the Yacht are more on an even footing.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could do something with that and have a better story. I don't want to run your time out too long, but I will say this though: Predator 2, both in the book and the movie, they did do something different. They didn't just make the first one over again, and they were pretty clever in what they did. I think because they didn't go. I think maybe because they didn't go far enough, or it was just a little too subtle. Because when all you see is the Predator cutting people up, it's hard to really notice that there's that cerebral aspect to it. But I think the people that made the movie did a very good job in conveying a story that was different. And the novel does a little better because we can see inside the Predator's head. But it's fundamentally a good story. If there was no movie, this would be a great just piece of general fiction, I think.
I agree wholeheartedly. It adds enough new lore, because that's the thing with Predator 2. It's the lore dump of all those Predator films. That's when we find out like what their ship looks like. We get new tech. We understand that they not only have been hunting us a long time, they just hunt things. That's what they do. And we got the nice xenomorph skull, although that's not in the novelization.
Yeah, because that was a spur of the moment thing, I think.
Yeah. Which makes me think of the new, was that Badlands, where it has the big Tyrannosaurus Rex skull.
Yeah, that's kind of silly though. Is there like an alien T-Rex, or are they really hunting for 65 million years? I mean, anytime you have, and I could go on about this for a while, but anytime you have a species that old, why don't they control the entire galaxy? You could technically, with slower than light tech, have it be in like a couple million years. They just chose not to. It's like,
well, let's look at it this way: would the space jockeys allow it?
Yeah, there's that.
Because they're tied.
Yeah. There's that. Like a lot of the explanations we get are done by art majors and not by actual sci-fi writers that know what they're talking about.
Yeah, but that's modern media for you. There aren't a lot of the hard science fiction people left.
What I liked, and I'll wrap up my piece here, but there was an old RPG supplement that some fans had created that tried to explain all of this. It was called Aliens Fusion. It was some kind of RPG system. I never understood how it works because I didn't care about RPGs, but it had this massive amount of fan created lore for both Aliens and Predator. They had like all new factions. They explained where the company came from. They created like a non-company human government called the Alexandrians. They were set on like some kind of different Earth. Well, it was an Earth-like planet. They came up with all this stuff. And the Predator stuff they explained is that they didn't even live on a planet. They all lived on giant arc ships just flying through the galaxy. And that their culture was about hunting because they were post-scarcity. And that was how they were able to get greater status within their society. It was really good. It was somebody that could wrote that. It's long since been taken down from the internet, but I used to read that all the time because I loved it because it made sense.
Yeah. Not a lot of thought is brought. There's no George Lucas for Predator. There is no madman that insists on a steady continuity.
Kind of needed.
Yeah, yeah. As I review all these IPs, the only one that comes close to Star Wars is Indiana Jones, and that's because George Lucas was also involved in that.
It's kind of sad though, because like with a good story editor, you could have stuff that could still sell just by putting something on the cover, but would actually have some sort of artistic merit too.
Yeah. Anyway, what would you rank Predator 2 this novelization?
I give it 5 human skulls out of 5.
Yeah, I give it a 5 out of 5. Out of all these Predator novelizations, this is the best one. If you were to read one, read this, skip the other two. This one is worth the money. I will say I did back in the probably 6 years ago paid $50 for this.
Oh.
Yeah, I talked them out of $75. It is one of the more expensive novelizations I have. It's not the most expensive. Those are the Halloween novelizations. Those go for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars.
Yeesh. Well, I'll tell you a story of how I first discovered the Predator 2 novel. I had a friend who lived in Croatia, and he went to a used bookstore there, and they picked up the English language version of Predator 2, and he read me all the Predator excerpts, and for years afterward, I wanted to find it, and eventually I did find it. I didn't pay no $50 for it. I got it from like a local used bookstore for like $5.
Yeah, every once in a while you can find things like that. Like I think that's how I found several novelizations like that. I may have found the first one for that, like pretty cheap. I can't remember now. Also, I found AVP because that first movie has a novelization.
Yeah, I read it. It's terrible.
Is it? Is it really bad?
It's not good. It's not going to make you want to like gouge out your own eyes, but it reads like a junior novelization. It reads like it was something written for like a child almost.
No, no. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. We still got Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection to go through.
Alien Resurrection's pretty good. You see some stuff from the Xenomorph's perspective. They're actually intelligent because of the Ripley DNA. And I never read Alien 3.
Yeah, you hate Alien 3.
Yes. I will die on that hill. I will literally self-destruct on that hill.
All right. So anyway, next month's book club is going to be Sleepaway Camp. I will not be on that one, but Matthew and Adam will be back for that. So anyway, everyone, have a nice day and stay Gucci, as some kids said at some point. I don't think kids say that anymore. Bye.